And the way you can figure out the names of your chords, it's actually pretty easy. You're going to, whatever the name of that first note is going to be the name of your chord. So it's the higher of the two strings that you're playing, and I mean higher as in pitch. The way you can figure out what notes you're playing is first to know the name of the string. So the second thing that you need to know is you need to know your musical alphabet. The musical alphabet goes from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it starts over again. There is a half step or a sharp that's in between all of those notes except for between B and C and E and F. So what that means is, let's start on the G string. When I play it open, no left-hand fingerings, that's a G. If I play my first taped marking, that brings it up half a step, and that's going to make it a G sharp. So if for some reason I wanted to play a G sharp chord, I would fret both of these strings, and there would be my G sharp chord. If I go one more tape marking, then I'm going to go to an A, because when I reach the G, G sharp next is going to be A. So this is where my A chord is. One more half step takes me to A sharp. And any note that is a sharp can also be a flat. And the way you tell what flat it is it's the very next note up. So if this is an A sharp, the next note after A is a B, so that would be a B flat. And that's called enharmonic, but you don't need to remember that. So A sharp, the next letter up from A is a B, is equal to a B flat, is the exact same note. And sometimes in bluegrass people play things in the key of B flat. So this would be that note right there on your third tape. Sometimes you hear a little bit of buzz in the bass, and that just means that I didn't get it pressed down all the way. You're going to go one more tape marking, and after your A is your B. So this is a regular B chord. One more half a step, and we said that between B and C there was nothing in between them, so I go directly from B to a C chord. So my fifth tape mark here is a C. And I can take this and I can do this on all the strings. So now if I start with my D string, I know that open is D. If I go to my next tape marking, which is my first tape, I have a D sharp. Or, if you remember what we talked about sharps and flats, the next letter name after D is E, so a D sharp is also an E flat. If I go one more tape marking, the note that comes after D is E, so here is an E if I play my two middle strings. If I go one more note, we talked about that half step, that there's nothing between E and F, so I go directly from an E to an F at my third marking. If I go one more taped marking, I'm at an F sharp. And if you want to know what flat that equals to, the letter after F is G, so this would also be a G flat. So F sharp and G flat are the same note. And then you can continue doing the same thing on your low string. If I move one more up, I've got my G again, but I can also play G open, which is where you're going to want to play it on the bass. When I'm doing my A, I've got open A. My first tape marking is going to give me my A sharp or my B flat. One more marking up is going to give me a B. There's no half step between B and C, nothing in between them. So here I have my C. And if you remember, we also had a C up here. So you can see that you can find the notes in more than one place. Which place you decide to play them is completely up to you. Depends on what kind of sound you want to get. If you want it to be a really low sound, or sometimes it can be determined by what string or chord that you're currently playing, whatever's going to make it easiest for you to go to. Most important thing probably that you need to keep in mind when you're playing bass is that whenever the verse or the chorus starts, it's important that you're on the correct string of the two strings for the chord. So for instance, for your G chord, you have the G and the D string. Whenever that verse or chorus starts, this is a good time to double check and make sure that you're starting with that G string and not the D string. Same thing for new phrases. If you get the two strings backwards, it can really throw everybody off. Even if you're keeping a steady beat, it's not going to sound right to the other musicians and it's going to throw them off. So you want to try to make sure that you're always on the correct string of that chord.